Joining me today, we have Jake Kwiatkowski. He's the game expert at the game agency, and he's going to teach you how to build a Jeopardy game. So without further ado, I will let Jake take over.
Thank you, Stephanie, as always. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here again for another game building webinar with ELB Learning. I'm going to give it just another minute or so. It's only 1:01. That is still technically on time, I think, in our digital world these days. I'm calling in from Rochester, New York. We actually have sunshine in December. It's unheard of. It's a miracle. So, I'm counting my blessings today. Hello, Lexington. Hello, Texas. Hello, Ohio. Hello, Michigan. No snow either. Yeah, no snow. That's good. Bangor. Hello. Nice to see you. A lot of Americans here today. I like it. Usually haven't seen any international crew. Rainy Texas. Never a bad thing to have rain. Hi, Minnesota. Hi, Arizona. California, you have freezing temps today. Freezings to you guys is 65, right? That's the freezing temperature in California. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm not kidding. It's 50 in Sacramento. It was 14 degrees out here in Rochester. I don't want to hear it. Sacramento. Also, I've been meaning to get out there. I hear it's a beautiful place. All right. So it is 2 after the hour. We have 22 folks here in, and let's hop on and play let's build a Jeopardy game. All right, so got a quick little slideshow here. The gratuitous, everyone can see my screen, yes?
It is so beautiful, Jake.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. What would I do without you? All right, so again, guys, we are here to talk about Jeopardy. The name itself, Jeopardy, it brings up the game show, one of the most exciting and popular game shows in American history. Most people have watched it in the States, and almost everyone already knows how to play it. So first and foremost, if you wanted to use Jeopardy in a training game, you have a lot of advantages in people recognize it, people have probably played it, and a lot of people, like myself, probably have an emotional connection to it because they watched it with their grandma and their parents, and now with their significant others on the couch every night. So Jeopardy pulls at heartstrings. It's a great game in itself, and we're going to show you why it's also great for training. But first of all, why is Jeopardy so great? Like, what is their secret sauce? So they have a unique stylistic voice. Jeopardy is not trivia. It's a quiz. So Jeopardy questions are styled differently. They would not say, what is Jake's favorite color? That's not good enough. They would say, this color of the sky is also Jake's favorite color. What is blue, right? Something along those lines. So when you're writing a Jeopardy clue, and what also makes them so good and why they've been on the air for so long, is you want to elicit one of these 3 reactions. I knew that. You instantly go, yes, I got that. Darn it, I should have known that, right? You go and it's sitting there on the tip of your brain, and then the person answers it and you go, dang it, I knew that. But it's just then been reinforced in your brain. And then the third one is, I didn't know that, but now I'm glad I do. Jeopardy is a master of offering different paths to an answer. So I could know the sky is blue, but not know it's my favorite color, right? Or I could know it's my favorite color and not know that the sky is blue. By knowing one of them, I've learned the other, right? And you also get a couple paths to answer that question. So it just makes it more accessible and also just more fun. That's why people like Jeopardy. Because again, trivia questions are, what is this? You know it or you don't. And that can be great for certain knowledge checks, but I just truly believe Jeopardy is superior, and with this voice and trying to impart knowledge at the same time. All right, so general rules to follow when you're making a Jeopardy game. Jeopardy is in all caps. That's the name of the show. And don't forget the exclamation point at the end of Jeopardy. And don't use quotation marks at the ends of clues. Most of this stuff isn't going to apply too much to you guys when you're writing clues, and we'll get to some in a second. I'll show you what they look like. So that all-important opening phrase. Excuse me. So when you answer a question in Jeopardy, if I'm looking at this question here, this American artist sang the iconic Danger Zone from the soundtrack of the 1986 movie Top Gun. If I answered in the show, Bryan Adams, well, first of all, that's the wrong answer, but okay. If I answered in the show, Kenny Loggins, I'd be incorrect. because I did not say who is Kenny Loggins, right? So you have to put that phrase in the beginning. There's a little mark to remind you if you forget to put it. Who is, what are, make sure you include that, and it makes a Jeopardy clue. Okay, so clues. This seems strange, but Jeopardy clues are always written in all caps. There are just several exceptions right here. So the 1980s, right? So that S could be lowercase, or sometimes names of companies and products are lowercase. But beyond that, you write it in cap marks. And it may seem strange. I promise you, it seems stranger when it's not in caps, especially if you're used to watching the show. The other thing, never, ever, ever end a Jeopardy clue with punctuation. If you put a question mark, the Jeopardy gods, they cry tears. The Jeopardy writers can feel it. They can feel that question mark down from 1,000 miles away. Don't ever put question marks in a Jeopardy clue. All right. And if you are, excuse me there, if you are quoting a TV show, movie, songs, albums, you put them in quotation marks. There you go. All righty. Responses, same thing. Always put TV shows, movies, books, things of that nature in quotation marks. What is One Tree Hill, The OC, Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Finally watching through that with my fiance. That's her favorite show. Dang, it's 90s nostalgia at its best. All right, now, analytics. So now that we have all of these clues, and don't worry again, I'm going to build one in real time for you and show you what this looks like. Once we have all of these clues and all of this information, once your people play it, you capture that data instantly. It provides instant feedback to your learners to reinforce material, and you get attempts, average times, accuracy by clues, by question, by game, by player. You can break down all of this information, and you can also see, I love this graph, look from the first to third attempt, how pretty much all of these people have a little bump in knowledge. I love that, because go figure, if you're playing something more than once, hopefully you remember a little bit more. And that's one of the powers of gamification, is by harnessing things such as points, leaderboards, like Jeopardy does. Getting a 77% wasn't good enough for this person, so they came back and got a 95%. And you know what, darn it, that wasn't good enough either. They came back and got a 100. So they just played that quiz, that interacted with that training material that you wrote 3 separate times. That's the power of games. And all of this is available for you to look at, to download, to score and wrap, anything you need. All right, that is a quick crash course. Thanks for paying attention. Now let's build a game. All right, so this is the back end of the training arcade. If you have a training arcade subscription, this will look familiar to you. And if you don't, well, here it is. So if I want to build a new game, I'm going to click New Game, and then I'm going to click Jeopardy. All right. So, excuse me one moment. This page in the training arcade is the game info screen, and it's going to look pretty much the same for all 10 of our different games. The first thing you have to do is pick game mode. We have 10 different games, like I said. All 10 of them are available in single player. Jeopardy and our trivia game are available in instructor-led mode, meaning that someone can lead you through the game, channel their inner game show host, and have a real team-building, engaging experience all at the same time. If you like, we run one of these instructor-led games every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern. If you go to thetrainingarcade.com, Stephanie, if you would be so kind, at the very top, there's a banner there that says sign up for Jeopardy. And we just play a fun game. There are gift cards. The idea is just to have a good time and the week with some fun. And they are clues from the actual Jeopardy show. So we'd love to see you there sometime. All right, now that I have the game, I am going to name it. You know, I always do that. 1, 2, 3. So let's do 7, 8, 9. Then notice once I name the game, the URL auto-populates with the name of the game. You can change this URL or add things to it if you wish. This URL is probably the easiest way to share the game out to your learners. Note, this is the single player URL. If we wanted to do instructor-led session, that's a different webinar. And again, come check out the Friday game and you can see it in action. It's a lot of fun. Default language, we are proud to support 20 different languages, the most recent being Czech, Dutch, and Polish. Note, default language that does not translate the content of the game. What it translates is the UI, the instructions for the game. So if I put this in German, this start button here would be Anfang. Someone correct me, I haven't spoken or lived there in a long time, but that's the kind of translation that would happen automatically. There is a translation capability. Again, we can show that to you down the line. And we have other videos on that as well. All right. Last thing here is tags. If you want to tag your game, it's just a classification. So webinar game. Look at that. So if I want to search real quickly in Training Arcade, that's just a means for me in which to do so. All right. Now, game settings. If things are going to be different between our 10 different games, it's going to be down here in game settings. Go figure, because of different game mechanics. So first of all, do you want a timer for all questions? Not having a timer makes it more accessible. Having a timer makes it more competitive. So in Jeopardy, in the actual show, you get 5 seconds to answer the clue. I find that if you are building a Jeopardy or trivia game, 20 or 30 seconds is a good enough time, or is enough time, excuse me, to give your learners time to think about the question and answer it without slowing down the momentum of the game. So 20 to 30 seconds is about a good time. Percent answered correctly required to pass. So if I'm building just a fun game, you know, like something for the holidays, right? I'm going to put 0 because I'm not testing you on anything. You don't need anything to pass. If you're training someone on the newest pharmaceutical drug, I hope they have to score slightly better than 0. And that is as easy as putting, what's passing these days? All right, let's say 70. Putting 70% of the answers correctly, then you pass the game. Again, that is up to you. I'm going to leave it at 0. Session limits. You can also add in session limits to the game. If you want to make it a true knowledge check, if you want to make it a contest, like, hey, whoever scores the most points within this amount of time wins a day off, wins an extra lunch, whatever you might have. And that is as easy as clicking the day, and then you can click the time down to 5 minutes that you would want this game to be open. Now, quick note, if you have session limits on and you share out the URL with your team, so say I tried to start this game and it wasn't ready yet, I could still click on the link and log and like add in some information. But then when I go to actually play the game, it'll say this link is not available. And that's because you got the session limit on. So just FYI, it's not like a completely dead thing, but it'll just tell your learners like, hey, you can't play this right now. And again, you don't have to have that. That is totally optional. Same thing with learn more. At the end of the game, there's an option, you know, play again, check the leaderboard. If you want to give your learners another web page or something else to check out afterwards, you can do that, like, and we'll see what that looks like at the end of the game. All right, now for Jeopardy, here's a game function. Allow no response. I usually like to have this on as yes, because that is a tactic of Jeopardy. If you don't know the answer and you get it wrong, and you answer and get it wrong, you lose points. So not answering is a strategy, right? Or hoping that other people answer and lose points. So if you allow no response, your learners don't have to respond. If you want them to, right, like this is an actual knowledge check, or they're taking a test and like, hey, you can't skirt by like that. You have to actually answer the clues, just put no. And if they decide not to answer, then they will be docked points for not answering. There you go. All right, information pop-up. So at the beginning of the game, you also have, again, optional opportunity to tell your learners, what are they doing here? Like, what is this game? Why are we playing? What are we hoping to accomplish? Like, and you'll see what that looks like in a moment as well. Again, optional, but I think it's a nice thing to put for your learners, because it gives them some context. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I playing this game today, right? All right. Now, the last thing here, authorization. So most of the time we have no authorization, meaning you can just click the URL, play away. If you want to, you can upload authorized player lists, and that's as easy as uploading a Excel sheet to the player list. And then pick one. New employee training, the Jamie's test list, Julia's list, or just HR department. That's a piece of cake. If you want to integrate single sign-on, you can also do that as well. That you can integrate with your provider. Piece of cake as well in the settings once you're up here. Or again, you don't have to have any authorization. Now, registration is a little different. So authorization allows me to actually just get to the game. Can I click on the link, get in the game? I can. Great. Now I'm here. I might still need to register for the game. And this is just collecting some information to help you identify your learners. The basics, first, last name, email. We usually have these on to identify people. And again, if we're playing a game that has prizes like a gift card, I'm going to collect the email address so I can get you the gift card, stuff like that. You can also add in custom fields for registration, be they text or drop down, and you can select from them, they save. Or you don't have to have that on at all. Now, the leaderboard on Game Over. So I always recommend having this on unless, again, you're actually using this for assessment or a test. Like you don't want to know, or you don't want me to know that Stephanie scored way better than I did on that test or what have you, right? Note, if you say yes, show the leaderboard on Game Over screen, when your users go to register, it will ask them for their name or initials. I remember those 3 letters you had to immortalize your name in the arcade when you were a kid, and you always picked bad letters because we were so cool, that kind of stuff. So it's not personal information, but it helps identify who that person is. All right. Now, a lot of our other games have some branding options, and you can also create branding options for a small additional cost. Jeopardy does not. It's Jeopardy. We stay as close to the IP as we can. We want it to look and smell and feel and taste just like Jeopardy. So there you go. So the theme is Jeopardy. You can upload a company logo if you want, and that just pops down in the corner here, PNG or JPEG. And then you can also add information about your subscribers' privacy policy if you want. You don't have to. All right. So now that I have my basic info done, I'm going to click Save up here, and boom, my game is founded. So the foundation is down, and now you'll notice I have some more tabs up here for questions. Okay, so now we're going to get into it. We're going to start actually building clues. So notice there's Jeopardy and Double Jeopardy. If you want to, you can just enable the Double Jeopardy round. We usually turn it off just in the interest of time when we're demoing this stuff, but it's entirely up to you. And then here's Final Jeopardy. So we will start with the first one. Okay. So an actual Jeopardy board on the game is 6 categories by 5 different clues. So if you want to, you can have that up to 6 categories and 5 different clues. And it's as easy as that. If you want to get rid of a clue, you simply do this, back down to 4. Want to delete a category, simple as that. And voila. All right, so that is simply setting it up. Now, the first category is here, and we got to name our category. But where's the content? What kind of quiz am I building here, right? Well, first of all, you probably have a lot of your training materials already done and already set and ready to rock. And so do I. I have a holiday-themed game here. This was actually given to us by Jeopardy last year, so this is great. These are clues from the show. And this is how I organize it. So here's my category. Here are my clues by amount. Here is the actual clue. Here are my answers. Here's that all important, who is what are, right? There's my correct answer in red. These are missed clues, and here's my correct feedback. So
do you want to zoom in a little bit on your spreadsheet?
My apologies, everybody. I always forget about that. All right, so great. Is that better? Cheers. Cheers. All right, so here is the basic construction of what I write down a clue. You don't have to do this. I highly recommend it. It's just easier to collaborate on Google Docs with your coworkers, fact check, get some feedback, and it's just nice to have it all kind of in one place. You absolutely can just write clues in Jeopardy, right in here. You can absolutely do that if you want to. It is up to you. I prefer to write them down here, and then I copy and paste. Notice how it's in all caps. So I'm just going to copy the clue, go over here, paste it in, get rid of that little extra space there. Done. There you go. I do need to name the category. I forgot to do that. So this one is Kwanzaa. So naming the category is simply putting in the name there, and then it auto updates. So this is a multiple choice question. In Jeopardy, you have two question types, multiple choice or text input, to stay as close to the game as possible. In our trivia game, you have these types of questions plus polling, image matching, multi-select, just a little more room to play with the question types because we don't have to make it look and feel like Jeopardy, right? So these are the two. We have a multiple choice question. This image button, this allows you to upload an image to the clue to give you a hint. Here you go. Here's a map of New Orleans, or excuse me, a map of Louisiana I had for another game. This gives, some context to your learners, or you could even say, look, all right, check out the image, and then the clue afterwards is going to be on that image, or it just can give you a hint to the clue, put you in the mood for the clue, or you don't have to have it at all. Same with videos. You can upload a file or add a URL from Vimeo or YouTube. Piece of cake. Now, use a timer. Yes, we have a timer, 20 seconds. Remember, if I go to game info, that was a universal setting. If I want to adjust individual questions because, they're harder, like I want them to have more time, you can do that. All right, then opening phrase. We even got it here for you. Example, who is, what is, who are. So here I have what is. I'm going to copy and paste. And then I'm also going to copy and paste my answers over. All righty, so note that you have to have two choices for multiple choice. You can have up to 4 in Jeopardy. So, and then I'm just going to take my other answers. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. This is how I do it. I have on my answers set. The correct answer is the United States, but I'm going to de-randomize these choices. Now, if you randomize them, they just show up in some random order to the players. If it's on a single player game, that makes no difference. It's all good. But if you are doing an instructor-led game where you are all playing at the same time, highly recommended you have this turned off so that the clues show up to the learners all in the same order. Because if I'm reading off the answers to you in a different order than they are on your screen, that's jarring, and it just doesn't feel good. So de-randomize, and then you can move them around if you want so that the first answer isn't always the correct one. Back to my clue. Here is my feedback. And I'm going to just copy and paste that there. Notice that you can have different feedback for a correct and incorrect answer. If I'm doing a game for fun, I just kind of have them be the same feedback. But, if a learner gets something wrong and you're like, hey, that's actually incorrect, here's why, or this is the page it was in the textbook, or here's the document it was that referenced that, etc. You can also add in advanced feedback. So this is an opportunity for an interstitial. So once the player, and you'll see this, has answered the question, this feedback pops up. And then if you have advanced feedback, then this slide would pop up. And it's just another opportunity for more information. Did you know that Kwanzaa ... And then you can put in images. Let's go to the beach. Yeah. So you can put in images, rearrange that as you want. Again, add in videos. Just another opportunity to easily engage your learners. And you can have as many of these slides after a clue as you want. All right. Let's find a text input if we've got one here. Yeah. Okay. So for the album Christmas Songs, again, don't worry, we'll play through the whole thing. We'll get all the clues. This is a text input. So let me show you how to do one of those. It's not all that different, just a little. So here we are in another clue. Question type is not multiple choice. It's text input. Notice how the answers changed slightly. We'll get there in a sec. Same thing, you can upload an image or a video. Dropping in my clue text. Time for question, yes. Since this is about who, it's who is. And then the answer I am looking for is Elvis Presley. So the first thing I input is the exact answer. What is it specifically, exactly I am looking for? Elvis Presley. But if someone typed in Elvis, that would be an incorrect answer based on just this parameter. And that's no fair because Elvis is a correct answer, right? So I could type Elvis, and they have to type in exactly Elvis and get that right. But what if they put Mr. Presley? I'd still accept that. What if they put the King? I'd accept that too because I'm feeling lenient here. That's not written there. So an easier way to go about this is instead of using exact, I like to use contains. So if it contains the word Elvis, if someone wrote, what is my favorite artist of all time, Elvis, that's correct. They're being silly. They're giving you more information than you need, but they know the answer and got it right. So if it contains the word Elvis or Presley or the King, it's going to be a right answer. There you go. So you can put in as many permutations of this as you want. You will notice that there are also options for starts with, ends with, and inside. I'll be honest, I use these very rarely. What I could imagine this being used for is pharmaceuticals training, where, you know, God love all the pharmaceutical folks out there, you know, but these names they come with, good gravy. So maybe if they know, I'm just going to say Prozac, it's the first thing that came to mind, you know where my head's at. If they just typed in PRO, starts with PRO, and the correct answer was Prozac, it'd be right, you know? Or if they just typed in ELV, they'd get this right too. I feel like it's a little too merciful, so I think exact and contains are great functions for writing text input clues. All right, I'm going to do one more multiple choice real quick just to show you how fast you can do this once you get it done. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste. I got who is my opening phrase, de-randomize answers, add to in here, paste, and cut. There we go. And then we get the feedback. Copy that in there. Great. Now, as you see, I mean, I do this a lot, right? But you can copy and paste the clue into Jeopardy in about 20, 30 seconds once you get fast at it. So the hardest part of doing any of this is coming up with the content, right? Once you've come up with the content, copying and pasting, writing this stuff down, boom, it's a piece of cake, right? It is really that easy to start gamifying your training. Now, once you have made your clues and you have that done, you're going to click save. And the game has been updated successfully. Now, this really isn't a working game because I haven't quite finished it, but we have placeholders in here for you so that you can save your game and come back to it if you desire. But wait, you don't want to sit here and watch me build this entire 4x3 game. I don't want to build it in front of you, the whole thing either. So, with some cooking show magic. Oh my God, look at that. The game's done. Beautiful, right? So here is that fully fleshed out, complete game with all of the answers, all of that good stuff. Final Jeopardy, there's no trick to that either. You type in the category name. You can upload an image. I put an image on Final Jeopardy just to showcase the image. Here's your clue text. Here's the exact answer I'm looking for, Coca-Cola. But if the answers contains Coca-Cola or Coke, it's still answer. There you go. So I'm going to launch this game, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like on the front end at the same time as the back end. All right. So here's the screen. I'm going to click start, get some water. Great. Now, here is the pop-up screen. So if I go back to the game info screen, look at that. There it is. We get a little preview, and there it is in the wild. All right. Now I need to register. So if I go back to the game screen, go down to registration. First, last email, and then I also want a text input for company. Great. Look at that. I've got it all plugged in here. Excellent. Then I click submit. And since it's a single player game, the game starts. If this was an instructor-led game, at that moment, it would say something like waiting for the instructor to start the game. Awesome. So here we go. Here's the game that I just built. Here's my categories, all my clues. If I go back, you can see them all lined up here. Look how pretty it is. Stephanie, pick a clue for us. What do we want to hear?
Oh my gosh, what do we want to hear? Let's go with Christmas songs for 200.
Excellent, cool. So if I'm playing single player, it's as easy as clicking on it. There we go. December 2019, her All I Want for Christmas Is You completed the longest trip. I'm sorry you are all singing this now in your head, and this is a text input. Nice, Stephanie. So we all know the answer is Mariah Carey, but what if I just put Carey? Hey, I got it right. Cool. That's because if I go to the clue, the exact answer I was looking for was Mariah Carey, but as long as it contained Carey, I got it right. Yeehaw. Here's my feedback. Awesome. Now as the learner, I can sit here and digest this as long as I want. Go back to the game. Let's do it for 400. Christmas in Hollis is a Christmas track from this legendary hip-hop trio from Queens, who is the DMC for sure. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. It's that easy, right? So that's how easy it is to build one of these games. And you see how easy it is to play it as a learner. You're clicking one button the whole time. And again, most people know how to play Jeopardy in some fashion. In addition, sharing out these games is also a piece of cake, like I said. So using a URL is perhaps the simplest way to go about it. Again, the Training Arcade, it's not an app, it's not a plugin, it's not anything that needs to be downloaded or installed. As long as you and your learners have internet connectivity on any sort of device, you can build and play these games. And sharing out that game is as easy as copying and pasting it into any sort of chat. You can also SCORM wrap everything to upload into an LMS if you like, or any other service. And then you can embed this game as you like as well into any web pages, etc. In addition, here is what that analytics board looks like. So look at this. It updates in real time. I am still playing this game. I haven't even finished, and it has data on what I've done. So if I want to click on Jake, I can see at 12:13 at 1:30, he answered this stuff. Here are his answers. Here's his accuracy. Here's how long he was there for. And then I can go down to the question itself and see how many people got it right, how many people got it wrong. This information up here is the player trends in aggregate. And if you want, you can cut up this data into different date ranges and download it into an Excel file to do with it as you see fit. That's really it. That is the long and short of it. It truly is that easy to build these Jeopardy games or any sort of game in the Training Arcade and gamify your training like that. So, yeah, does anybody have any questions or any sort of things I can help you with? I'm here for you.
I do have one question. You mentioned earlier that single sign-on is available. Could you touch on that a bit more? What do you need to do to set that up with your existing LMS?
Sure. So I will say that I am not a security expert, and I know that that is a very, what's the word I'm looking for here? You can't get it wrong. So I do know that a single sign-on integration is as easy as this. I cannot speak to specific LMSs or, integrating an SSO with that. I do know it is possible. And we have our whole security team. We have tons of information that I can dig up for you. But this is the page where you can upload it, or connect it to your SSO, and there are instructions here for you.
Awesome. Yes. Sadly, Jake's not a security expert. He knows many things, but not everything.
I don't. I know. I failed you.
Yes, our team can help you set that up with your LMS. Now, one of the questions we get a lot, Jake, is if you get a subscription to the Training Arcade, and this is a subscription-based product,
Mhm.
how many games can you create with your subscription?
That is an excellent question, Stephanie. And the answer is as many as you would like. You can buy the games themselves in 3 or 10 packs, meaning, which games can you purchase. But then once you purchase those specific games, you can build as many games as your heart desires. There are player limits, unique users after 1,000 users. We find that clearly not too many of our clients have to worry about that, especially at the beginning. But when you purchase the Training Arcade, if you want to build 1,000 Jeopardy games, we're not going to stop you. You can do that.
Perfect. I'm going to get right on building 1,000.
I'm going to say I challenge you.
I don't know that I have enough time for that, but maybe over the holiday break. We have another great question. If you publish it as SCORM and upload it to your LMS, when your learners go and click on it, where does that open? Is it in the LMS? Is it on trainingarcade.com? Is it in its own special world? How does that work?
It does open in the LMS. The one thing is that as far as I'm aware, the analytics page lives on the trainingarcade.com. So that data will be feeding back and forth, but to view that data, it's on the Training Arcade. And again, that's just a web page admin you can sign into through our website. Not an app, not a plugin, nothing like that.
So the game experience for the learners, they'll feel like they're still in their LMS, but the admins will need to go into trainingarcade.com to take a look at those back-end analytics. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. All right. So let's see. I think those are all the questions. Jake, you were just too good at explaining things. Yep. Or everybody decided to eat their lunch and they didn't want to ask questions. You never know.
Can it be both?
It could be both. It could
Chris,
be
thank
both.
you.
I think that we're all kind of getting into the holiday spirit a little bit. We're ready for it to happen.
As I saw a lot of people on here know, it's hibernation season too, and and also to all my fellow football soccer fans, you have time to get to kickoff. I wanted to make sure that you had plenty of time to get to that kickoff. So I'm going to be excited whoever goes through. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, Jake told me that we had to make sure we ended the webinar in time for the game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
every 4 years. Come on. I got you, Leah. I got you. Yes.
I can give you that extra time. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I did post a link in the chat to the pricing info at thetrainingarcade.com, and you can also sign up for your own personal demo if you'd like to see the other games that are available in the Training Arcade. There are 10 games. Jeopardy, another very recognizable one, is Wheel of Fortune. And then we also have some other different gameplay types available. So you can check those out on the website. And hopefully we will see you all on a webinar soon, probably not until the new year. So happy holidays, everyone. Thank you. And thank you, Jake, for your time today.
You're welcome as always. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year. And until next time.